one and all. I hope you're having a fantastic day, night, or whenever you're watching this. Thanks for coming back to the channel, and we got a little bit sidetracked a while ago. You see, back in, I want to say November, I said then that we were going to kind of take a look at the Transformers Beast Wars characters, and we were going to go through the Maximals first, and we did that. But before we could get to the Predacons, we got sidetracked because we had a lot of exciting things come up, like Siege and some Studio Series releases. But we're going to kind of get back on track now. Before we get into the Predacons, I think it's time that we take a look at this guy again. No, not Optimal Optimus from the Power of the Primes line, but the add-on kit. In this case, it is the DNA Designs DK-08 set for Optimal Optimus, and it's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, and me everywhere. And this is Optimal Optimus from the Power of the Primes line. I like this figure, but he was definitely not perfect. One of the things that was a big oversight with this guy was the fact that he was missing one of his alt modes. That being the, what do we even call it? The thing that rolls on the land. It's not a truck. It's not like a motorbike. It's not even, maybe it's an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle. I don't know. I'm not even sure what you call it, but he was missing it nonetheless. And I said in his review that I like the update. I thought it was fine. I thought it was great, but if there was somebody who could really use an add-on kit, it was this guy. And indeed, DNA Designs answered the call. Now, there's a couple of versions of this. I'm going to be looking at the DK-08 set, not the 08X, no, 08 Plus or the DK-08EX. I'll kind of address briefly what they are. But this is sort of the, I'll say the base set for what you kind of need if you want to complete your Optimal Optimus. But is it worth it? Is it a good enough set? Well, we're about to find out. In fact, without any further ado, how about I stop babbling and we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And so before we go on with the Predacons, we're going to kind of give a very slight addendum to the Maximals, or, well, at least to Optimal Optimus. Now, if you guys were around some time ago, I kind of went on a little bit of a Beast Wars tear where I went through many members of the Maximal team. And I kind of showed the whole group together, and I questioned whether or not I should kind of keep my Optimus Primal, my Ultra Class Optimus Primal, or replace him with the new Power of the Primes Optimal Optimus. And indeed, I took a very extensive look at Optimal Optimus in episode 432. That thing clocked in at over an hour, but I showed every conversion, every mode, a couple of, I think, fan modes. There's so much that you can do with them now. I did say that I thought it was a fantastic update, a fantastic homage to the original, even though it was missing one of the alt modes. And I said then that this is a case where I believe that the figure is a great update, but it does very much need to have an upgrade. And enter DNA Designs and their DK-08 or their DK-08 Plus, is it? Or EX or something like that, where you can get a little bit extra. Now, this is just the DK-08. I'm going to explain the difference between the two as we get in a little bit further. But to begin things here, we have a box. Don't we always have a box? Okay, so it's pretty plain, actually. We have, you know, a picture of Optimal Optimus on the front here, DNA, DK-08, POTP, Optimal Optimus upgrade kits, age 16 plus. I think that the actual toy is age 8 plus, but apparently the parts to go on them are age 16 plus. And indeed, at least with one of these parts, I can understand why it's for 16 plus, man. We'll get to that in just a little bit. On the side we have this, it's that. On the side we have this, and then on the back we have the product shots. And don't we always have that? But it's a box. It does come with instructions that look like this. Yup, one sheet. And they're pretty awful. Pretty awful. And inside the box we have a plastic clamshell that looks like this. We have two what appear to be wing pieces, two huge orange blasters, tires in the center, other pieces down bottom that are potentially tires, and two sword-looking pieces way over on the side. And alas, you may very well remember this dude. It is Optimal Optimus. Now, I want to point out what we have and what we don't have. You see, there's a few versions of this set. First, there is the version that we're going to look at here, the basic DK-08. Then there is a DK-08 Plus version. And in the Plus, you basically get new hands. These have fingers that are like a base pin knuckle, and that's it. But the new hands have individually articulated fingers with a couple of knuckles. Like, I think you can open the fingers out straight. They're bigger hands. We also have in that set new kind of forearm covers. They flatten out and like kind of wrap around here. They are bigger. I did not feel a need to have either the hands or the wraparound pieces, but hey, I could understand if somebody did want that. And lastly, they come with larger versions basically of these blasters. Now I have them plugged on his shoulder, but they're just the stock blasters that came with Optimal Optimus. If you want those like bigger with like maybe a silver touch on them, same with the covers here. I don't think they're gray, I think they're silver. Then, you know, hey, go for it. You can also get a version of this that is recolored in like black and gold, and that's an EX version, I believe. And that version can go with the SDCC kind of Optimus Primal repaint, what is it, Throne of the Primes or whatever it was. The long story short is I didn't go for that version because it's gold and black and really goes with that SDCC exclusive. That is the DK-08 EX set. I didn't go with the DK-08 Plus set because I don't really care about the individually articulated fingers or the new forearm covers or the larger blasters. Now, you might, and that's fine, you know, to each their own, but my concern was making sure, really, that I was able to accomplish that final alt mode. That being said, these things incorporate across this guy, and every time I've seen a review of them so far, like it's been like a speed run where people show the parts and don't necessarily show everything. I'm going to show you everything, and the very first thing that we have to do is take this guy apart, and that's very easy. We just unclip there, and take the upper body off, and that leaves us with kind of this monkey body piece, but that's not where we're going to begin. No, we're going to begin with the smaller robot. And now, before we get to the smaller robot, this is the first thing to note. There are two of these swords. They are, I'm going to say cast in black with silver paint, I believe. Extremely sharp tips up here. Very sharp. Not down here, but up here, very sharp. And I assume that's why this set is intended for 16 plus. He can, of course, hold these in his hands, no problem. And so he can look something like this. I'm going to tell you now, they fit snugly in his hand, but not too tight. It is perfectly toleranced. I am very impressed with the tolerance. Now, what if you don't want him in his hands? What if you just want him to have him sheathed somewhere? What do you do then? Well, they got you covered because these fit on his back no problem. Sure, we all know that there's a backpack here, but now we can finally use some of it. These slots right here, they're kind of rectangular, but they're just wide enough that you can take these pieces, slot them in there, and then this little notch up top is just wide enough for the handle of these swords to fit in. So you can put the swords on his back, they store there very solidly, perfectly toleranced again, just like fitting in his hand. This is a very nice, clean job. Very impressed with this set, kind of out of the gates. And if we have our small robot handling the heavy artillery, then what do we do with the rest of the parts here? Well, the very first one to note are the extra tires. There's a couple of like large tires, and they can actually store nicely right here in the back. And what you have is like a couple of tires that like they notch together. Actually, they come already notched together, and there's like a gray piece that you put down the front, and then there's two little tabs that go down into slots up top here. It fits in quite elegantly. There's a kind of a curved track in behind there, and that's where you sort of fit the front of these tires in, but it fills the body in so that our like ape body here, honestly, it's filled out nicely. I absolutely dig it. He retains all of the articulation that he did before. The head can go left and right. Granted, it can't move back now because that's in the body cavity. There are a couple of wings. He would be able to put them on here. We'll see that in a bit. There are other tires that go down on his shins. They would be able to stay there. All that would leave is his huge blasters, which I guess he could either hold in his hand or he could notch them on his back somewhere, potentially. And I say somewhere potentially because officially nothing is shown here in the instructions for where you could put those blasters. Not in this mode anyway. So I spoke too soon. In fact, I decided to go back after looking at the footage for the whole guerrilla mode here and just address a couple of things. Not least of which is the mistake that I made when I said that there was going to be nowhere to store the big orange blasters. Indeed, as you can see here, there certainly is somewhere to store those blasters. I don't know if it's official or intentional, but basically speaking, we know that we have a 5mm port on the front of the shoulder and on the back. We have like little, I guess, rectangular tabs down here. They are wide enough, though they're not circular, they are wide enough that they can fit in the 5mm peg on the back. You're putting a rectangular peg into a round hole, but it works, it fits, and when you do it, you still retain full rotation of the arm, and you can still go all the way out. So I don't know if it's official or not, but it definitely works. Also, I'll note now that, though we haven't really looked at this yet, we have much longer wings here. They stay on in this mode, no problem. And we have the tires for the vehicle mode here on the side. They stay on in this mode, no problem as well. The only other thing that I wanted to note is I stated that the tires here can go together and they fill in the body, and indeed they do, and how they notch down the top here. And I said that you can fit it kind of down in. Now you do have to fiddle and finagle it just a little bit to get it down in here, and that it kind of rests within a track. The track that it rests in is the track that the shoulders swivel on. So it's that same sort of track, and it gives you just enough extra width to fit this into place. Now it's not the smoothest thing. I mean, once you have it in there, it's fine. and then you can kind of slot it into position here. It holds great. And when you take it out, it's easy. But kind of getting that first like start of squeezing it in here is a little hard. You're going to want to take the gorilla head forward as much as you can and then try to stick it in as much as you can before resting it down into the proper position. Nevertheless, this is now the gorilla mode with all of the pieces from this set on it. Everything still working fantastic, tolerance excellent. Okay, I know that this was sort of an interruption. Let's go back to the regularly scheduled review. And so we're back here in kind of hollow robot mode. Next we can start sort of changing out pieces, because there's some pieces that come with this set that honestly are just going to go on this guy and stay on there in perpetuity. So the first piece to note is this piece. Actually, there are two of these, and you'll see that there are tires that have like nice bright metallic blue rims inside, and you'll notice that there's a 5mm peg up right there. Well, that's going to go onto the thigh, and of course there's one on the other side as well. And looking at the thigh and this piece, you can guess how this is going to go. This peg goes into this peg hole, and the whole thing kind of fits over and snaps on. So it goes on over this way, and then pegs on, and we'll just stay on like that. We do the same thing on the other side so that he looks like this. And now you can see the way both legs are. You can push those two pieces on until they snap. When they snap, they should be fine and secure. It really does not make his legs any bulkier. It doesn't look egregious. They're fine. They're fine. You might say, hey, they stick off the back, and it looks bad on film here. Is this film? I guess film. But like, it looks bad on video. There you go. But like, it doesn't look bad in hand at all. Ah, yes, and while we were gone dealing with the legs, the rest of his upper body got put into place. Ah, magic! Now, what do we do next? I would propose to you that we deal with his new wing pieces next. New wing pieces, you say? Indeed. In fact, we can come here and pop that one off, and I'm going to show you the old one compared to the new one. The itty-bitty, sad little pieces on top. The gigantic leader masterpiece is on bottom. Masterpiece. See what I did there. But yeah, no, seriously, the little wing up top is the stock wing. It was fine. I had no issues with it. The bigger one is the one down bottom. I don't know. If you like the smaller wings, keep them. If you like the bigger wings, change them out. The attachment point is exactly the same. Meaning you pop one out and you just pop the new one in its place. And once you do so, well, let me show you the difference. It's the easiest way to address this. So we can come here and open that one out, right? And then come to this side and open that one out, and you know, you can see the difference for yourself. And so I changed both out, and you know, this is how he looks. It's pretty good. You know, it's all right. I don't have any problems with it. Now, what is it that we need to do next? Well, we got a couple of things to do here. The very first is we want to sort of get the tires positioned for robot mode, and the I guess like the blasters and all that good stuff. Now I put these blasters up here. I'll say this, the intention now is to put them down here because we do have a space here. I'm going to leave them up there for now because why not? They're not doing any harm up there. But there are 5mm ports down here where you could put those ones. And I think the idea is you put them there because you're going to use the new ones that come with the Plus set. Now, let's deal with the tires next. Now, I'm saying tires, but in essence, it's really just one tire joined together. It's this piece here, and you should be able to... There. Open them up like this. So now you have two pieces that look like this. And they have these pieces on the other side. So what do you do with these now? And so we come to the back of this guy, because that's really how we're going to kind of handle things here. We want to begin by pulling this piece down. And there's like a notch right here and a notch right here. Well, when we bring in our, I guess, half of a tire, we bring it in like this. And we turn it so that the silver piece is facing the outside, and then we take this armature and bring it down. There's another armature here that has like a 5mm peg on it. Leave that one up flat against the tire. Just bring down the other one for now. When we bring down the other one, we have a little notched out, like, rectangular type of tab there. That's going to slot into this slot here. And it's quite secure once it's in. And you put it on that side, and on the other side you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use that exact same notch with the silver facing out. And this is how it looks in robot mode, for now anyway. But we're not done. No, no. The very next thing I want to show you is him holding his blasters. And they kind of fit in his hand, the whole wraparound thing. He holds that one fine in his hand. We wrap the fingers around. And he holds both of them just fine, no problem. But again, what if you don't want Optimal Optimus wielding these huge blasters? Well, you can store them, as well as the swords from the smaller Optimus Primal figure. How do you store them? On the back. That's right, using those tires. Well, let's begin with the sword things first. With the sword things, we have a notch here, and we have a notch here. They're where I think pins are, but you can take these swords, and there's 5mm pegs on the side, and you can store them in there. It's a tight fit to get them in there, though. And boy, oh boy, does it take some work. But as you can see, when it's done, they store on the outside. They're in those silver sections. I will say this, it is not actually a 5mm port. It's actually a hexagonal port. So you do need to fit it in there quite right. But the nice thing is, even if you can't fit it in until it's out like this, you can just rotate the tire down. Or I guess if you really wanted, you could like bring these, I don't know, like up over his shoulders for display if you really want. But I think the intention is to have them, you know, down like that along the back. Now, all that leaves are the blasters. What do we do with them? Well, we have a rectangular, where is it? There's a notch. Right there. There's a rectangular notch right there, or tab I should say, and a rectangular tab right there. And then up here we have another rectangular tab and another rectangular tab. And they fit into slots on the blasters. Namely, this slot is on both sides of this blaster. It goes over the rectangular tab down on the foot, ankle of Optimus Primal. And this notch fits over the part up on the tire section, so that it looks like this. See how that's on there? Well, we are going to do the same thing with the other one. And it goes on over that notch on the ankle, and then hopefully over the notch up top. It's a bit of a chore to get it on, but once it's on, it's pretty darn secure. It's extra chore to get it on when I'm trying to do it here on camera. And there you go, it looks like that. Call me crazy, but I didn't think that you wanted to watch me have to struggle and fight to get that to tab on properly. That being said, once it's on nice and secure, perfectly toleranced again. All of this fits in very snug, perfect, it's all smooth. And of course from front on he looks like this. You know, he looks like Optimus Primal. Sorry, Optimal Optimus. Just like you really sort of expect him to look. I'm just saying. And indeed, here we have the jet mode. And it's your typical, you know, stock jet mode for the Power of the Prime's Optimal Optimus. The wings, of course, are longer. And we now have the blasters put in here. Because the pegs up on the upper shoulder are now occupied by the tire halves, which I suppose are supposed to be like jet turbines, I guess. That's the intention. Now, that being said, how are these blasters attached? Well, do you remember those rectangular slots? Well, on the ankles, on the top here of the Optimus Primal robot, we still have those rectangular tabs, so they slot down over that. And there are 5mm holes in the blasters that the sword pieces can fit into, so that you do get everything like held together here. Except that just came out. But generally it's held together here pretty securely. Let me just back it up here and see if we can get a bit of a better look. I don't know. Can you get a better look this way? Maybe. I'm not sure, but there you go. There is the very heavy now jet mode. And I dig it. It looks a lot more bulked up. I don't know. I like it. Okay, so we do have to do the conversion to the last mode. Now I'm going to say this. I've already kind of recorded this and given some final thoughts on this, but I'm not happy with it because I did encounter one crucial kind of QC issue that well, I'm saying crucial, but it's fixable. It's not really crucial. It was enough of a nuisance and a hindrance and an annoyance that it made this process far more difficult than it really should be or needs to be. I will note right now that the Optimus Primal part of my Optimal Optimus does not like to stay attached to the larger portion. These heel pieces, though there are tabs for them to go in, mine always push out. They will not tab in there. It is not possible. The two tabs that tend to hold the body together, they may stay together or they may just as easily pop apart. I can almost guarantee you that the two halves of this guy will come apart during this conversion. That is not a weakness of the set, that is a weakness of the figure. So we're going to try and show this as best as possible. From this mode, I can tell you this, that the Optimus Primal section up here with the two big orange blasters and the swords on it, that stays exactly as it is for the next mode as well. So where do we begin? We begin by removing the stock blasters from the sides. They best fit in the kind of extra leg pieces here, and like because of the 5mm port, they're not obtrusive at all. You take them out, lay them to the side for now. The other thing that you want to do for now is take the large wings and flip them up straight. For now. And I'm going to call turbines, but really it's half of the tire. We can take that out next. It's in the 5mm peg on the shoulder. So we take that one out and we lay it aside. And we do the same on the other side. We take the tire piece out and we lay it aside. We'll get to those in just a couple of moments. For now, you can fold back the wing piece and fold back the wing piece, and you can flip down these pieces. Now, they may like to pop off, but they're easy enough to put back in. So you flip that down, and you do the same on the other side, and you flip it down. And you can even begin to angle the arms in a little bit. Now, we're going to come back to this in just a moment because we need to kind of put together our front tire. And I want to explain how the front tire is supposed to work because this is where I encountered the QC issue. So far, pretty easily. So far, pretty easy of a transformation. I hope that your Optimus Primal section does tab into the heels here like it's supposed to. Mine really, it doesn't. It's unfortunate, but it just doesn't do it. And so now we have two turbines, and really the turbines have 1, 2, 3 kind of spokes, I guess, coming up. You line those spokes up with each other and you sandwich them in. Once you sandwich them in, you rotate around so that these two gray pieces right here line up with each other. The parts sticking off here and the parts sticking off over here. These two parts right here that are sticking off, they are the pieces that in gorilla mode go in the track of the shoulders. And then we fold that in and fold that in. Also in gorilla mode, it's this and this that tab down in the slots up by the shoulders. Now that we have this together like this, what are we going to do for this mode? Well, for this mode, we actually want to leave these out. The two 5mm pegs here and on the other side over here will go up into the 5mm slots on the thumbs. I will say this. One of these pegs was poorly toleranced. It would not fit up into the thumb. Impossible. It could not do it. What I resorted to doing was taking the thumb off, putting it on this, and then reattaching the thumb. Very cumbersome. After the fact, I sanded down both of these 5mm pegs just ever so slightly. Now they fit in the thumbs better. They fit in all of the 5mm ports way better. And when I say slightly, I mean very slightly. As well, on this gray piece, you'll notice there's a little tooth here and a little tooth here. These little teeth will notch up under the very front edge of the gray cockpit section on Optimal Optimus. Now I said a whole lot there, and this is definitely the most complicated part of this conversion. The two tabs, the two teeth that I pointed out, go up right here and right here. They lock in rather securely, which is good because it gives this Optimus Primal piece another locking point, which it desperately needs on mine. The 5mm port right here on the thumb and over here is where the other pegs go in. It's a bit of a nuisance to line it all up. I find you will do better if you like kind of peg it in the front here first and then peg the thumbs on over the 5mm pegs. And voila, I now have it locked in under right here. I just need to lock the thumbs down over. You may also notice here that the orange on the tire and the orange on the hands is in fact slightly different. And indeed, in the end, this is basically your rolling vehicle mode. Now my feet aren't quite lined up. They're there, like that. Does it roll? Not really. It slides. Like these tires back here can roll. The front one can roll, but the tolerance is so snug on it that they don't really freely roll. But maybe that's a good thing, because if they did freely roll and you had this guy displayed in this mode, then he may very well just roll right off the shelf. And, you know, he has a lot of pieces that can pop off and whatnot. What a shame that would be. So, you know, while it doesn't really roll per se, like, you can move it back and forth and it's solid. Once you get it in position, it's solid. A little bit of a nuisance to get it there if you encounter the tolerance issue that I had with those 5mm pegs. Or if your figure just is poorly toleranced in terms of keeping the two halves together. But that's going to be, you know, mileage varies. It depends on your figure. I've heard of a lot of people that have this guy and the two halves pegged together perfectly fine. So, Up to this point, up to doing this guy, I said that I thought that this was a perfect set. It was perfectly tolerant. It was beautiful. And indeed, even here, the only tolerance issue that I encountered through any of the modes is trying to peg the front tire into the holes on the stock hands, the hands that come on him. If you have the DK-08 like Plus that comes with the individually articulated fingers and whatnot, maybe it is toleranced a bit better for that. Nevertheless, I just took a little bit of sandpaper, I just kind of sanded around the 5mm peg a little bit, and then I tried fitting it back in. When it fit in smoothly, and I could plug it in and it stayed tight, but I could unplug it no problem, then that's when I stopped, right then and there. Didn't do any more than that. So just a very little bit. Now that that's done, I would say there are zero tolerance issues with this guy. Is it a good set? Well, in terms of color, it's pretty good. The orange is slightly brighter than the stock orange, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. It tends to match the orange paint on the figure better than it does the orange plastic on the figure. I'm okay with that. The gray is a perfect match. The silver on the blades of the sword pieces is beautiful. You know, the black is black. It is what it is, right? But even the blue down here is a nice metallic blue. It really pops and looks brilliant. So in terms of paint apps, I'm gonna say a 9 because it looks really good, even though the orange is slightly off. I can't give it a 10 because the orange is slightly off, but it still looks really good, and to the naked eye, you'll barely notice it. Posability, playability, it's a kit, so it doesn't. You know what? It doesn't hinder any of the posability, and this guy has a ton of it. So it is not obtrusive in any way, shape, or form. It does fill in the ape mode body. I mean, you might say, well, the head can't go back as far if the body's filled in, but the body's filled in, so it doesn't look silly. Conversion, I guess in terms of posability, playability, again, 9, it hinders nothing, it's great. Everything's pretty secure, I dig it. In terms of conversion, it works across all modes. Everything can be stored in all modes. And whatever issues I encountered were with the figure itself, except for right here, I did have to sand down those the rounded pegs ever so slightly to fit into the slots on the thumbs. Outside of that one little thing that took all of 10 seconds, everything is toleranced and works perfectly. I'm gonna say 9. I want to say 10, but because I did have to do that one thing, I gotta say a 9. Overall, the set's a 9. I said it when I reviewed the Power of the Prime's Optimal Optimus. He's a great figure. He was missing his last mode, and he's one where I believe that an upgrade kit is not only warranted, but makes sense. And now that I have the upgrade kit, I still stand by that assertion. And here we are once again, and here he is with his add-on kit on. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. It provides pieces for this guy that he should have had right from the very beginning. Now, I get it. If you want bigger kind of wraparounds on the forearms, if you want individually articulated fingers, and if you would like for these little stock blasters to be bigger, all of which I can understand why you would want it, then perhaps you should get the Plus because it has those parts in it. If you have the SDCC exclusive version, then you probably want the EX because it's colored to match that. But if you have the stock release that came out at retail, and if you are fine with the hands and the kind of forearm pieces the way they are, if you're fine with these blasters the way they are, it's all good, man. But you think to yourself, I wish you could really do that last mode, that land mode. Then this is probably a good one to get. As a bonus, you get these huge blasters, and you get longer wings, not really needed, but hey, I'll take it. And you even get nicely molded swords, sharp as they may be. Color-wise, I think this is an absolute win of a set, and it kind of gives the finishing touches to this character that I was looking for from the very beginning. It adds a surprising amount of weight, and now he feels far heftier to me. That sort of shocks me. Everything can go stored in every mode. It's very functional. It's molded out of very nice feeling, robust, thick plastic. There's honestly not much here not to like, if anything at all. I think it's a solid win. If you've been on the fence about getting Optimal Optimus, I'd say do it. He's a fun figure. If you have been on the fence about getting the upgrade kit, don't be on the fence any longer. It's a great kit. Do it, man. You'll be happy. Anyway, let me know what you think about the set. Let me know what you think about Optimal Optimus. I like him. And I like him just a little bit more now because of this. Anyway, thanks for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how important it is to you. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.